Welcome everybody to the special meeting of Council in regard to the budget, live stream. Please note that this meeting is being live streamed, recorded and published in accordance with the Council's live streaming and recording of public meetings policy. To those present in the gallery today, by attending a public meeting of Council, you are consenting to your image, voice and comments being recorded and published. Anyone who is invited to speak will be recorded and their voice, image and comments will form part of the live stream and recording. I'll be reading from my figure.
We can read from mine.
Item 1, elected members' declaration of interest.
Thank you, Mayor Ross. So as we're all aware, we're here tonight to endorse the... Oh, sorry.
Excellent. Mrs Edmonds, item 2, reports for decision. and luckily this is going live, Mrs Edmonds, so we are all human, which is fantastic. Item 2, reports for decision. Item 2.1, draft annual business plan and budget 25-6, and the responsible officer is Mrs Edmonds. Would you like to take the floor?
Thank you. Apologies. So, as we're all aware, the purpose of tonight's meeting is to endorse the 25-26 draft annual business plan and budget for, or prior to going out for community consultation. So the consultation this year has been extended by just over a week, so that the next meeting where we get together to consider the community feedback falls just prior to the community consultation closing, so that if anyone chooses to attend, we can take that on board as far as when that community consultation ends. We've had plenty of discussion in our 2 workshops around it, so a majority of the document that we've been prepared has been based on our discussions and discussed in those workshops. We talked about that rate revenue rise, which we're looking at the 5% or modelled based on the 5%. So that modelling has been done and rate in the dollars have been established for the land use codes that we're currently using. So the valuation book, which we received from the Valuer General that we've used, is dated on the 5th of April. What happens between now and then is that we receive weekly updates and we are then remodelling as at closest to the 30th of June that we can. So this year we've had a very modest capital growth within the district of 1.01%. So based on averages, we're not expecting any significant change with that one. So the only other details that we possibly haven't discussed in detail is the waste levy being the rubbish run is going to increase by 3.4%. So we're looking at 440 per annum to increase to 455. The CWMS levy for those in Lucindale, the vacant and occupied levies will remain the same. Any other changes that have come about to the document between now and our workshops have been discussed and are listed within the report. Majority are capital works, as we're all aware. Other points to note within the document are that we're still looking at that 210, or we're looking at that operating deficit of $210,000, a proposed closing cash reserve of 6.338 million, which will change after that 3rd budget review. So in our May council meeting, we will discuss again perhaps the basics of these figures that we're proposing for the budget. Hopefully everything's in there that you need. I haven't had any inquiries before today, so happy to take questions now. Hopefully can answer them now without taking them on notice, and all being well, hopefully we short jump shiny meeting. So anyways.
Do you want to just explain that change in the table, the transposing error?
Oh yes, sorry. So yes, thank you to Mayor Ross. There was a couple of grammatical edits in the capital works listing at the end of the document that we did have to change. It didn't change any overall figures, it was the listings within the projects. So apologies for that and thanks for picking it up. And happy to provide further context if you need that one.
Excellent. Are there any questions of Mrs Edmonds? I suppose at this juncture, we're looking to put this out for public consultation. It's quite a period.
It's going to be about 4 weeks this time,
Yeah,
bit over 4
pretty
weeks.
much. And during that time, I would be hoping that elected members would be approached by members of the public about what they, might like to have maybe even added to the budget or taken off the budget. And I think it's a very important month for elected members to go through all of the detail they have given them to date, and take it to the community and ask the community for their opinion, because many's the time the community doesn't come to us. And it was only mentioned to me today, I was talking with a guy and he was talking about public consultation, and Mrs. Collins will recall that when we came to this chamber, we were wondering desperately about what public consultation looked like and why we couldn't do it better. And having been here now for 2 years, I think we do a pretty good job at trying to get it there. But whether the public actually want to engage with the council may be another thing. So I actually wholeheartedly support the councillors going out and soliciting, their constituents in real terms and asking them their opinion, because many's the time they're not coming to us. So I'm happy to take any questions, or Mrs. Edmonds is happy to take a question now on notice or any time during the course of the public consultation.
Yeah, Ross, not a question on the report itself, but I know many people in the public wonder how the valuation is derived on their property. I know you've explained it in the chamber, but I think there's probably a perception out there that the council sets the valuation on properties rather than the valuer general. So I wonder perhaps if for people that want to review this, you might explain how the valuation is determined for a property and how often that valuation occurs, if you wouldn't mind.
Sure. The Valuer General has visited us in the past to have those meetings to explain to us. Basically, my understanding is they look at pockets of the region and they look at the average sales within that region within that period of time. They have informed us that they review every property within the district once a year. I believe it's by the 30th of May that they look at closing or having done that annual review. They then communicate that to us on a weekly basis. That sits in the system until July the 1st when we raise the rates. So that new value, even though that information might come in say, September of the year, is not actually recognised until that following July when the next rates are raised. So when we model on that new information, hence the stats on the increases, decreases or the likes. I do have a fact sheet that they send out, which is also available on their website, which I'm happy to send you all. That gives some clarity around the different land use codes and what the movement has been in the capital valuation over that last 12 months. So happy to send that out to you. And the landowner has the opportunity to dispute that valuation. That doesn't come via us. On the back of the rates notice, we put some information for the ratepayer around how they go about that, and that's directly with the Valuer General's department. So hopefully that answers your question.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Are there any further questions of Mrs. Edmonds? Well, in that particular case. Pardon?
Not a further question for Ms Edmonds.
Yes.
But at our last budget meeting discussion, one of the items that I raised was around the expenditure on the Leicester Park playground upgrade. And I'm very happy that this budget go out for consultation. I think it's very comprehensive. I'm just flagging that I would like to have a further discussion about the $360,000 spend that's allocated for that playground, and whether or not, given our current budget situation and, cost of living and those kind of things, whether we revisit the total amount that we spend on that playground. I think it's important that we still do some work there, but that's a considerable spend, and, what would be involved in trimming that?
Indeed, and that can be revisited at that time. Yep. Sure.
Mine's not really a question, it's probably a concern more than anything with the current situation with our rural community. How some of those people are going to handle paying their rates this year. just, on the, and the, one of the latest papers was a mention of how much it's costing them a week to feed out. And they're looking at having to go to their banks and raise funds just to remain viable. So, is there anything that we look at or can do?
So are you happy for
Yes.
me to?
So we do have options.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so we certainly make it well known in our, particularly our quarterly council reports, as you will see, that if people are experiencing financial difficulty or hardship, that they're welcome to come to council. We're not in the business of trying to make life hard. We're happy to work with people, but it takes them to make the approach in the first instance. Fortunately, we give a long period of time to sort out rate payments when they fall due. We don't look at debt collection options until 6 months after. So we like to think that we approach it quite leniently in the first instance, and certainly if people make contact, we're happy to work through it with them.
I think it's important that we let them know that that's available. It's perhaps a little bit of a safety valve or whatever for them to know that, to come talk to us. It's one of the things that they say, that they suffer in silence. So any way that it can be relieved is going to be a benefit.
I don't think I'd be speaking out of turn to say that I had a meeting with some other mayors to the north of us 10 days ago, and this very subject was discussed, and the approach may be made to the state government for some assistance in that regard. The one thing about setting rates and budgets for us is, if there was deferral of rates, which is not on the table, deferral of rates is not on the table, but if the rates were deferred, that means that, our income is then restricted. And, so it becomes very problematic. So I'm sure there are very high-level talks taking place in that space to try and help not only landholders but local government that may be, put in a compromising position with ratepayers who have to go to the bank, for example, to borrow money to pay their rates. If there is nothing further, I'd ask somebody to move that the annual business plan and budget 25/6 be endorsed for public consultation, and the period of consultation be from the 5th of May until the 4th of June. Please. Councillor Downgood, Councillor Turner. There being nothing further, all those in favour? Carried. Thank you very much. Meeting closed. Thank you for your attendance.